On this video, I'm answering a very, very important question that I'm seeing everywhere. Can I still start a YouTube channel, interview a bunch of guests, and blow up in a big way on YouTube? And I know where this question is coming from, and it's also based on my personal experience that every time I open up my YouTube feed, I see that literally every second video is an interview video. Maybe it's based on my interests. That's how it is. But that may not be the case because I'm seeing this all over the place. So I thought I'm going to answer this. So if you are an author, speaker, trainer, coach, and you are looking to start interviewing other people, then this is going to help. This video is going to help. It's going to go a little longer because I'm going to be drawing upon my 14 years of broadcasting talk show experience. I'm drawing upon my 20 years of internet online marketing training coaching experience and all that stuff, and kind of answering this question. So the way I'm going to approach this is I'm going to give you the positives of doing it and also the negatives of doing it. I'm going to start with negative because negatives are going to draw you in and you will stay longer on this video. We learned that from the news world. So negatives, they get the eyeballs and the ears. So I'm going to lead with the negatives and then I'm going to share the positives. So stay with me. This is going to go a little longer, but then at the end, I'll tell you exactly what I would do if I were starting over. And I'm telling you exactly what I'm doing on this channel. So let's start with the negatives. What's the negative? Oversaturation. Literally oversaturation. I just said it. Every second channel is an interview channel on YouTube. Okay, same guests. So there are experts who say, I'm going to go on a podcasting tour. I'm going to go to the top 40 podcasts or top 100 podcasts. I'm going to do an interview tour, and I'm going to be on all these shows. And I have a book coming up, or have a seminar coming up, whatever it is. I'm going to do a launch, right? Whatever. And what they do, they repeat the stories. It's all repeating stories. So where this takes you as a channel host is you're going to get the same stories, same guests, and you're going to be asking the same questions because the questions are more or less coming from the guest anyway, and they want you to ask these questions. And then low novelty equals to low retention. There is nothing noble that they're doing. Okay, so if you're a podcast host, if you're a YouTube host, you are looking for impact. You're not looking for a guest. Think about it for a second. Okay, so clearly, standing out is an issue. Okay, standing out is an issue. So there is no uniqueness, and because there is no uniqueness in what you'll be doing, the chances are that you're going to blend into everything that's going on and everyone else, whatever they are doing, you're just going to blend in. So you're not going to stand out. That's the risk. That's the challenge. The other challenge is your guests, they're going to come in. You're going to have an awesome interview, you think, and then they don't share. They see this as a transactional event. You are working very hard, driving depth. You show up with your cameras, with your lights, and with your setups, and with your editors, post-production, pre-production, during production. All these things you do as a host only to be left out because your guest thought it's a transaction. Now, as you start growing this, you will become more and more dependent on guests. So you become more guest-focused, and you will become more or less detached from the audiences, from the people whom you are, in the first place, you are here to cater them. So you'll end up getting guests from different categories or different areas. There is nothing linear about it. These interviews, they're not happening in a way where there is a bigger purpose and you are driving all these interviews collectively to attain that purpose. One guest refers you to another guest, and that guest may be willing to do an awesome interview with you, but that guest has no relevance any which way in terms of what you are trying to accomplish, right? So essentially where I'm going with this is you'll end up having less conversions, whatever those conversions you're targeting, whatever your call to action is. So low retention, low conversion. So those are the negatives, by the way. Let's get into the positives for a second. I would still do it. I'll tell you why. These are the positives, okay? Now that I got you into the negative side, you're deep into the mud. Let's talk the positives. The beauty of this is that every time you get a guest, the guest has some followers, and they have a built-in audience. So you leverage that fast, quick, and you blow up. Right? You do it right. If you somehow magically get the synergy going, and I've seen this happen with me, and I interview 2 or 3 people. The third person I interview, the third guest, I have incredible synergy. If I have to compare, stack these 3, right? So one among those 3, I built an incredible synergy. When that happens, you open what is called the high value door, right? So that's the interviews are high value doorways. That leads to partnerships, collaborations, and incredible possibilities. Okay, from there, referrals, right? When you do an interview based format, channel, interview guests, the beauty is that you are not solo anymore. You're not solo anymore. You have a structure, and you are not filling the time yourself. And an interview inherently leads to what we call built-in content prompt. So you ask a question, you know the answer, you know the next question that you have to ask, or maybe based on the way you get the response, you may go a little bit deeper. So everything is prompted, more or less. It kind of lends itself into prompts. You end up creating evergreen content. So the guests, they leave, they become bigger in life, and they add more followers. Those followers will end up searching them. They will end up finding your podcast. So it's evergreen, it's long term and all that, and you get the SEO game right, it's amazing. The backlinks and all that. So even though we are in the AI world now and everything is changing, but still all this is relevant. Who knows how it's going to be relevant? I'm assuming at this time that's going to be relevant. Okay. So you do differently. You do your interviews differently. You push for depth. You challenge your guests. Okay. Then you will stand out. So the opportunity is there. So you should, in fact, do it. And the leading question was, is this format dead? Will this format work? The answer is the format is not dead. Lazy execution is dead. So I left radio, talk shows, and I left YouTube channel also. In fact, I was active, very active till about 2 years ago, and I completely stopped in the last 2 years because I was becoming lazy. My execution was falling apart. So how do I fix this? Well, I took out a bunch of elements that I was really focused on. I said they are not relevant anymore. As I mentioned this in my earlier videos, which is, microphones and lights and backdrops and setups and all. No, none. Not those were adding to the stress. So I took all that out. I'm inside my car. I'm recording this. Okay. So I'm focused on execution, and I want to build that cadence. That's the idea. That's the concept. So what's the conclusion here? The conclusion is very simple. Try hybrid. Do both. If you become too much guest focused, then you will end up becoming a facilitator. The idea is that you want to become a thought leader. That's why you came to YouTube. That's why you are a speaker, you are a coach, an author, or whatever it is. You are in the game as being an influencer. Your job is to become a thought leader. You want people to attribute that way. Not that, it's nothing wrong with being a facilitator, but I think that is not where you should go. Hybrid. So do the interviews, bring your own values, your own convictions, your own observations, your own opinions, your own ideas, and your own strategies and techniques and share them. So if you look at this channel, I rarely have one or two interviews here and there. My idea was always to come here and present my thoughts, my strategies, and my techniques. That was the push. I have a friend of mine back in 20 years ago. This is a story from 20 years ago. A friend of mine and I both more or less started at the same time. And he said, I'm going to interview people. I'm going to build that leverage. By the way, the interview thing is as old as the media is. You know, they've been around forever. So this is not something that YouTube discovered. This is not something that that the new generation has discovered. This has been around for a long time. This is about, borrowing other people's credibility, has been around forever. So back in the day, people used to co-author books. Even today, people are co-authoring books. So so he's like, okay, I'm going to bring all these guests. I'm going to do teleseminars. I'm going to interview them. I'm going to build my list. Great. Me, on the other hand, I said, I'm going to go and build one lead or one customer or one client at a time. It's going to take me a long time. At the end of 6 months, he had about 8,000 people in his list, and I was only having about 100 people whom I met in person, and who I communicated with. Back in the day, I was doing meetups, and then all that led into seminars and workshops and all that. So, the difference, nearly 20 years later, I'm still in business. I'm trying to do what I'm good at doing, and I'm still building one, lead or one subscriber or one client at a time. He's long gone, and he has retired from this space completely, as just in a few years from the time when we started. So do both, but push for a change, push for impact, challenge your guests, challenge yourself, study, read, meditate on your content, and good stuff will come out of you. It will come out of you in the interviews. It will come out of you when you are solo. So do both. Okay, so that's the message. Talking about interviews, I recorded an interview about 2 years ago, to the date, 2 years ago, with an incredible doctor who literally has cured, triaged pretty much my entire family. And I insisted upon doing this interview because I knew the kind of impact she could create. This interview, we were recording this, and suddenly it failed in the middle. My camera ran out of of battery or space, whatever, the HD card, the SD card. But about 25 minutes interview. That's how much I could recover from the recording. And I never published that recording, but it's an impactful conversation. And I know even those 20 odd minutes are going to impact your life and the lives of many of my listeners. This is an interview with Dr. Naresh Kendrick, and incredible interview. And I'm going to be publishing that interview soon, within the next few days on this channel. Again, a classic example of an interview that is an impactful conversation that's going to impact your life and everybody's life. Impacted my life. I walk away from that conversation feeling empowered. So if I, as a host, am walking away empowered, then it is going to empower my listeners. I know that. So okay, this video has gone long. I will take your leave, but I'll be back here again as early as hopefully tomorrow, and we'll be talking a little bit more about you being an author, speaker, coach, trainer, you being an entrepreneur, you being an influencer. Stay tuned. Thank you.